Hey everyone, so welcome to my channel. And today we will be diving into a technology that's generating a lot of buzz in the AI world. So it's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. And if you're working with AI agents or large language models and want to unlock the true potential by connecting them into the real world data and tools, then you are at the right place. In this video, we are going to break down what MCP is, why it matters, and how it works, and look at some of the exciting use cases of MCP. And we will also touch upon how it differs from other API standards and how can you start using it today. So let's get started. So think about the current landscape of AI applications. Large language models like Claude and others are incredibly powerful at understanding and generating text. However, they operate within the boundaries of their training data. And if you want to interact with the real world, like access your files or use specific tools or also give live data, okay, so you typically need to build custom integrations. And imagine, like, you're building a report that compares the stock prices of two companies. Like in this example, your AI might know the company's description, but it doesn't have any real stock market prices data or the latest news unless you build specific connections to the financial APIs and news sources which are relative to it. And for every new tool or data source you want your AI to use, you would have to write your own custom code more and more for each interface with the external application. And it's also called as glue code. All right. And this becomes incredibly complex and difficult to maintain as your AI applications grow because you are writing a lot of custom code. And this is where the MCP comes in. So Anthropic introduced MCP in late 2024 as an open standard, a unified way by which the AI assistants can connect with external data, tools, and environments. So think of MCP as a USB-C port for AI applications. And just like USB-C provides a standard interface to connect various devices to your computer, so MCP also aims to be the standard interface through which your AI model can access a wide range of resources. And now, instead of managing multiple custom integrations, so the developers can implement MCP once and then they can connect their AI applications to the diverse systems efficiently and securely. All right. So the goal is to break the LLMs out of their data silos, okay, because they are trained on a limited data set, and then to give them a consistent method to retrieve relevant information or also to perform actions in the user's environment. So now we are delving into what are the key components of MCP. So the MCP ecosystem has quite a few key players. Okay, so here we see that we have the MCP clients or hosts. So these are the AI applications or frameworks like Cloud Desktop or AI enhanced IDEs that want to access the external data and tools. An MCP host often includes one or more MCP clients. Okay, so there can be one more than one MCP clients on a host. And then the second element is the MCP server, and these are the connectors to various tools and data sources. So the MCP server exposes the capabilities of an underlying system like the file system, a database, or an API through the MCP protocol. And finally, what's the MCP protocol? So this is the standard language and a set of rules that the clients and servers use to communicate with each other. It defines the format for request and responses, a guideline or a set of rules, and how the servers advertise their capabilities. Because here in MCP we have dynamic, uh, so the server is able to dynamically provide the information to the clients about the capabilities which it is exposing. Okay, and also it also tells about how the AI models can invoke these tools or access the resources. So now the protocol supports two-way communication between the AI and the data sources. So it's kind of a bidirectional communication. So When an AI needs information or wants to perform an action, so it sends a request through the MCP protocol to the relevant MCP server. Now the server then interacts with the underlying system and sends a structured response back to the client. Now let's walk through a typical interaction. So first comes the initial connection. So here, when an MCP client starts, it connects to the configured MCP server, which you have already configured in your system or LLM. Okay. Second is capability discovery. So this is a crucial element because the client asks each server, what are the capabilities do you offer? Now comes the registration, which is the third step. So each server will respond with a manifest of its available tools, the resources, and prompts. And tools are actions which the AI can take, resources are the data that the AI can access, and prompts are reusable templates for interfacing or interacting with the LLMs. So the client registers these capabilities, making them available for the AI to use. Fourth step is the invocation. So when the AI needs to use a tool or access a resource, it sends a request to the relevant MCP server through the client, specifying the tool or resource and also the necessary parameters. Now, the fifth step is execution and validation. So the MCP server validates and executes the request against the underlying system. Example, it runs a database query, or it calls an API, or it accesses a file. Now, the sixth step is the response. So the server sends a structured response back to the MCP client, which then proceeds or provides this information to the AI. Okay. So, as we have seen, the six-step process in how the MCP workflow is defined, how the client and the server they interact with each other. So now we come to the critical question about why MCP is important. So, what are its benefits? So, MCP offers several significant advantages. The first and the foremost is standardization. So, it provides a consistent and also a unified way by which the AI models can interact with different external systems, eliminating the need for the bespoke integrations for each tool. So, here what I mean is that you don't need to write the glue code anymore. Think of it as a common language between the AI and the apps. The second most important benefit is dynamic discovery. So, unlike the static AI API specifications, so the MCP will allow a AI client to dynamically discover these tools and resources at runtime. And if a server adds or removes capabilities, the client will see the changes automatically because that's what the dynamic discovery is all about. The third is basically the structured invocation and validation. So the MCP introduced a structured layer for invoking the tools. So the MCP server will validate the AI's request before it executes it. It needs to check that whether the invocation request is proper or not. So it does the validation, which reduces the errors and also the chances of making invalid calls by the AI model. And MCP will serve as an intermediary to enforce the correct usage. Next important benefit is enhanced security. So, security and access controls are built into the protocol. So, the MCP will mandate using OAuth 2.1 for authentication and authorization. MCP servers can enforce the fine grained permissions and ensure that the AI only accesses authorized data. And this main step will centralize the governance and improves the security compared to handling the security for each of the APIs individually. Okay. And then there are other advantages as well, like real time context. So by using MCP, so the LLM applications can fetch the real time information, leading to more accurate and useful responses. Okay, just like earlier we had implemented RAG, which is the retrieval augment generator generation. So similarly, by using MCP, it allows it to break the shackles and directly access the external data. So switching to the next important point, which is what can you do with MCP. So what are the different use cases and examples? So here, the first is the file system access. So this allows your AI model to read and write files on your local machine or in the designated workspace. So imagine that you are asking AI to summarize a document or edit the code directly. Second would be the web interaction. So you equip your AI with the ability to browse websites, to extract data, or even to automate the web flows using browser MCP servers. Now, the third important use case is code repositories. So you connect your AI to GitHub or other code hosting platforms to analyze the code, to create the pull request, or also to get the context on your projects. The fourth important use case is the creative tools. So integrate with applications like Blender for 3D scene generation from natural language prompt. So you just give a prompt and then it will be able to generate a 3D image, okay, or 3D scene using Blender. Next is the database connectivity. So you enable your AI to query the database and retrieve specific information without you needing to write SQL statements directly. And then we also have the memory management. So you use the MCP servers to provide your AI with short term or long term memory capabilities. Okay. So as you can see, the MCP acts as a universal remote control for your AI assistant, allowing it to interact with a wide range of digital tools and services. So you might be thinking, isn't this similar to what OpenAI already offers? While so the answer to this would be that while both deal with integrating systems, there are some key differences. The first is that it's static versus dynamic. So OpenAI specifications are static documents, while MCP is dynamic. MCP clients can query the servers at runtime to discover the available tools. So there is dynamic discovery involved. The second is structured invocations. So MCP will provide a structured invocation layer with the server side validation, unlike the direct JSON payload approach of OpenAI. Okay, so this is a very important point. The third is the security management. So MCP it builds security directly into the protocol with standardized authentication, whereas OpenAI leaves security to individual APIs. Okay, the security implementations. Next is the interaction model. So MCP is designed for multi-turn agentic interactions with support for streaming, while OpenAI is primarily request response based. Okay, so these are the reasons where the MCP shines over what OpenAI already offers. So in essence, while you could potentially build systems to interpret OpenAI for LLMs, MCP provides a ready-made standard for dynamic, secure, and conversational AI tool interaction. So now the final step is getting started with MCP. So first is we need to explore the existing MCP servers. So there is a growing ecosystem of pre-built MCP servers for popular tools and services. So you can check out the resources like the awesome MCP servers list on GitHub. The link is in the description. Then use AI platforms with built-in MCP support. So we have platforms like Cloud Desktop, which have integrated the support for connecting to MCP servers. You will typically need to configure a configuration file, often a JSON, in order to point to your MCP servers. The third is build. You can also build your own MCP servers. So if you need to connect to a system that doesn't have an existing MCP server, so you can build your own using the official SDK. SDKs are available in Python and TypeScript and Java and other languages, and there are commonly supported implementation in languages like Go, Ruby, and Elixir. Use MCP with AI frameworks. So frameworks like LangChain and OpenAI's Agent SDK have adapters that makes it easier to use MCP tools within your AI workflows. Okay, so in the next video, I will be going through the live example of how to implement an MCP client and interface with an MCP server probably we can take any of those like GitHub or Postgre or any other which we will decide. Okay. And yeah, so the MCP ecosystem is rapidly growing with more and more developers and organizations building MCP servers and integrating MCP support into their AI applications. And while still relatively new, MCP has the potential to revolutionize how AI interfaces and interacts with the world. And the future of MCP likely involves even more seamless integrations, enhanced security features, and wider adoption across different AI models and platforms. So, in summary, the model context protocol will offer us already offers, okay, a standardized and powerful way to connect the AI models with external data sources and tools, and providing a unified interface, dynamic discovery, enhanced security, and also the support for richer interactions. MCP is unlocking a new era of more capable and context aware AI applications. So, whether you're building your next AI powered application or feature, or simply you are an AI enthusiast, understanding and implementing the MCP is well worth your time. Okay, so that's it for today's video on Model Context Protocol. We hope that this specific video on MCP was knowledgeable, and I would encourage you to start experimenting with it. And so like and subscribe the video, and we will come with a live example of MCP implementation in the next video. Thank you.